think the real thing is, for me, love, health, wealth, and happiness are the fuels for success in the 21st century. Money matters, but it's oxygen. It's got to be for stakeholders, not just shareholders, not if we're conscious. And so if you're going to become a limitless leader, you have to come from love. Otherwise, you're a breeder.
Hi and welcome to another episode of the peopleHum interview series. This is your host Anushka at peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the peopleHum blog and video channel, which receives more than 400,000 visitors a year, and we also publish several interviews with well-known names globally every month. We have with us today Tony Dovale. Tony is an expert speaker and executive coach at LifeMasters. Helping teams boost results, he builds #AdaptAgility, that is revolutionary teams and future fit mindsets. He's a leadership speaker partaking in HPO assessments and diagnostics. He holds rich experience in speaking, coaching, and facilitating leaders to achieve 10 exponential impacts with a proven revolutionary workplace high-performance adaptability system for optimizing change and results. At his company, Tony helps develop people, teams, leadership, and culture through fiercely focused events and executive HPO coaching. He has worked with companies, CEOs, MDs, executives, HR directors, customer service and sales managers, and team leaders, and people in general to make them more ready to create higher performance and exponential results. We're so thrilled to be talking to him today at LeaderSum. We can't wait to gain more insights from Tony. Welcome to LeaderSum, Tony.
Morning, Anushka. Sheesh, that's an introduction of note. Thank you.
How
are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Hope you are too.
There we go. I'm blessed. I live in an incredible place, and I'm blessed to do the work that I love and love the work that I do. So I'm ready to share.
Wow, that was lovely. Can't wait to gain more insights. So diving right deep into the interview, for our first question, Tony, can you tell us a little bit about the fact that you've been an expert speaker and executive coach at LifeMasters for about 28 years, and that's phenomenal. So can you just tell us about your experience, how LifeMasters came to be, and the great work that you do there?
All right, thank you. I've actually been doing this for plus 45 years. So LifeMasters has just been the 28-year part of the process. For me, the challenge of life is there wasn't a structured process that I could follow, like an adventure. And as you're growing up, when you have a new baby, moms learn from their moms sometimes, but everything's new for you. And I thought, I need a way that I can learn and grow and develop myself, because I had to rebuild myself from quite a tough childhood. And so I went on an adventure and a search for the tools and the stuff that I could use to learn and grow and rebuild myself and be happier and healthier, and obviously pushing for wealthier. And I saw that there was a thing called Toastmasters, where you go and learn to speak. And in one of my meditations, I got the message, you need to create a place which is a home for people to grow together. Because if we're not together, we have a huge problem. Yes, there's 7 billion of us. We're divided by politics and BS. But if we're going to come through this dance, it has to be together like this. It cannot be like this. And so LifeMasters for me is places where people come to learn, to live, to flow, to grow, and to thrive together. You know, we have to be more sane and more conscious in what we're doing. But there's so much stuff that you can do. How do you cut through and get to the stuff that matters? And that's what my LifeMasters is about. It's been my purpose. It's my passion. It's why I wake up in the morning. It's why I go through the storms. It's my fuel that I bring. It's why my soul is on the planet, is to give people the tools and the opportunity and the context to unleash their fullest potential and to have simple things: love, peace, abundance, happiness, some kind of joy. We simple souls. To love and be loved is the focus.
Wow, that is incredible, Tony. That's some wonderful work you're doing there. Firstly, congratulations on LifeMasters.
Thank you.
And it's lovely to see how you're actually you converted your passion to a profession. You're helping people get out of their comfort zone and be the best version of themselves.
I think the challenge that we have in business, if you look at any of the Gallup research on engagement or any of the other work assessments, people aren't happy to go to work. They don't wake up in the morning and say, yay, good morning, God, and let's go. They normally wake up, it's like, oh my goodness, I've got to go to work again. And I think that's a problem, and it's a challenge for the leaders because we've been focused on the wrong thing. And it's like a drug addict. If money only matters, then you're like what I call a left brain, like an attorney or a lawyer, or a doctor, not necessarily a doctor, but an accountant. Neurons that fire together wire together. And so if you only worry about money, you dehumanize the people that are part of the machine. And for me, that is such an indictment on leadership, but it's where we've come from. And then you grow up into that machine, and so you behave like that machine. And we always allowed accountants and lawyers to run the system. And I think that's part of the challenge that we've had. If you can love what you do and do what you love, then you're blessed. You'll never work a day in your life. And that's what leaders have to do, and managers, and turn the machine on its head. And money is a byproduct of creating a great place where people love to work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can't agree more. So it's more than just the paycheck, right? It's the purpose and having your values in place, right?
Meaningful stuff that gets you excited, that when you do it, you feel amazing. Money is not a motivator. Money is a hygiene factor. And when you put petrol in a car, it doesn't make your car go faster. It just makes it go. And that's your salary or paycheck. But to become a higher performance person, it's got to come from the head and the heart and your soul. You can't push wet string uphill easily. And so that's the challenge that we have. And that's why I started LifeMasters, is that I can forge a way through and create a system and a process that you can unleash your potential, because you could be in the wilderness for your whole life and never discover the gold you're looking for. But if you have somebody who's done it, and they come and say, let me take you by the hand and take you through it, and don't do it for you, but can just be careful of that whole, watch out there, you're going to have to be stronger here. And that's why coaching is such a powerful model in business today, because you can take experience and expertise and you can pass it on to somebody and fast track 10 or 20 years of learning into 2 or 3. And that's what we have to start doing for our people.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's really heartening to see how you're helping people and giving them a sense of direction through coaching and through mentoring, helping them become the best version of themselves. So that's great work. Great.
So for me, the self-development component of LifeMasters had to become more as a formula and a process, because unfortunately, most of our life is around business. When you wake up at 6 or 7 in the morning and you go to bed 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 12 at night, a huge chunk of that is about business, value generation, building wealth, adding some kind of value. And right from my Boy Scout days, when I was upgrading and uplifting people and teaching people how to be the best version of themselves, teamwork was a core part of the process. But at the end of the day, business is where the value is generated and becomes some form of value for the individual, for the clients, and for the organization. And so I've spent probably nearly $1 million and the 45 years of time and money in designing a simple, focused framework that you can use. That's an incremental step-by-step process to fiercely focus your system and take swift action steps. Because as a manager, there are a million things that you can do to improve performance of people. Now, which ones are going to work? Which ones are going to translate into bottom line success and results? And how do you then create an organizational wide process that everybody's aligned to, everybody can follow, and it's a systematic process? And that's why I then went on the journey of researching the best steps and best practices around the world in how do you create high performance people Because if you want a high performance team, you have to have high performance people. And I'm a very competitive beast. I played hockey for the Defense Force and for my country, the divisions in our country. So I come from a highly competitive, do what you got to do to win kind of finite game process. But if you're going to have a high performance team, you have to have the individual people that are happy, healthy, aligned, energized, and can deliver the performance. I saw from my hockey days, you've got a fairly good team, but there's one or two players are the weak links, and that, excuse me, that's the whole structure of the system then falls down. So I designed a framework that covers people first, your foundation, positive, resilient, happy, healthy, good set of values and beliefs and behaviors. Because with those people, you can make a great team. Now you've got trust, communication, collaboration, and alignment for that team. Today's work is so complex and so big, you can't do it alone. You need to be part of an effective team. If you have a team, you need leadership. Now, these self-led teams are okay sometimes. Google's done research and tests of not having managers and leaders. A leader can get you to bring out the very best in you with coaching and belief and recognition and validation, what I call RAVE: respect, appreciation, validation, and enablement. And if you have those three, you then create a culture of some kind. How we do things around here. Is it a safe place? Is it a psychological safe place? Or is it a toxic place? We know that culture impacts up to 50% of the performance of your results. Leadership is about the same. You can have a high performance, happy, healthy person in a toxic space, and in less than 10 minutes, I'm just thinking of something else here. In less than 10 weeks, you can take a happy, resilient, high-performance person that's passionate and engaged, and you can smash that completely. And so for me, knowing people, teams, leadership, culture gives you 4 levels that you can then work on in optimizing your organizational performance. And then we have specifics in that you can follow through that will impact your bottom line, your engagement levels, your happiness and your loyalty with your clients. At the end of the day, it's about the heart of the machine, the soul of the business, which is your people. If you have a heart, if you have a soul, and if you are conscious, it's about people, not only profit.
Wow, that was such an exhaustive answer, and it was so enlightening. So it's basically just prioritizing your people and ensuring their personal goals and values are aligned with the larger organizational values, right?
Yes.
And leveraging RAVE, as you said, that was a very unique concept that you brought forward to our audience, Tony. So thank you so much for that.
Sure. So for me, the opportunity that any manager has is many people that are put into management normally have been promoted from being part of the group, or they're employed from the outside. They take a good salesman and they make them a sales manager. And that's a huge problem, because you're good at sales doesn't mean you're good at managing people. And that's why I then, in my research on high performance, I created the CLEARx framework that you can use. You know, all frameworks aren't always useful, but this one is useful in giving you the areas that you have to look at. If you're going to optimize your people, your teams, and your organization, number one is culture. And that's the C part of the CLEARx. Culture matters. The problem with culture is it's tough to change. You can't directly change culture. It's a consequence of people, teams, and leadership. But that's the first thing, that you have to get clear what it is, what you want it to be, and find a way. And we have workshops and team buildings that fast track that. But companies spend millions trying to change culture. And culture, it's like a tanker. The previous CEO's culture might have been toxic, and it still impacts the organization even when they're gone years after. The second is leadership, what I call limitless leadership, which is about being more conscious and coming from love. I use 4-letter words, which scares the heck out of many men. But if you don't love what you do, if you don't love where you do it, if you don't love who you're doing it with, and if you don't love who you're doing it for, then everything is a push. You've got to drive. You've got to motivate and manipulate. But if you love what you do, like your passion and your purpose, I don't care what the time is. I don't care what the day is. I'll do what I'm blessed to do. The third part is engagement, which we know Gallup's research, but it's also energy. You can have the biggest dream in the world and your little fairy on the shoulder says, come, Tony, let's go and change the world. If you don't have the energy, it's like, really, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And especially with COVID, at least 60 to 70% of people are sad in some way or form, stressed out, stuck, stalled. It's very, very hard to get excited when you have no fuel. You can't race your Ferrari if you have no fuel. So that engagement and energy is hugely important. The A in CLEARx is appreciative action. The moment I say to you, Anushka, why is there a problem with your performance? You go into defensive mode. And so old style attack, pointing, problem solving, we naturally become defensive. So flipping it over to appreciative inquiry is, tell me what we can do that will help you perform better. Tell me what you love and could love more about what you are doing. So it's focusing from a positive frame of reference and moving forward in that, what I call that swift action, where it's the action that's focused on more than money. Money is not an exciting motivator for 90% of your staff, unless they're in sales, maybe. Then the R in CLEARx is relationships. Today, more than ever, in remote or face-to-face selling within the organization and externally, relationships matter. I use the example, I'm single now, so I'm looking for a woman in my life, but I could go and steal somebody's wife for a day because they're angry or they're unhappy. You can steal a customer for a transaction because they're angry or unhappy with their service provider. How do you steal them for life? How do you show up? And what do you do that they become your customer for life? And that's the relationship, which starts with self. You can't have a great relationship with you if there's not a great relationship with me, myself, to start. And within that relationship and the care and the consideration and the compassion has to also be another R for resilience. So IQ gets you on the field. EQ keeps you on the field in working with people as you climb up the ladder. Emotional intelligence matters. But AQ, or resilience, I worked with Professor Stoltz, who designed it. I don't care how good your IQ and EQ are, but if you take a slap or a punch and you fall down, if you don't get up, who cares how good you are? You have to have the power to bounce back. You have to have the power to dance in the storm. And that's why in my whole framework, the adaptability framework, when I was in the Navy, I used to surf. And surfing is the perfect model for this thing, because you have to be adaptive and you have to be agile. And so for me, that's adaptability. But surfing is when you're on the water on your surfboard, when you look back, there are waves coming for you. And normally you're facing the wave. So you're facing your board and you're watching the waves coming. We have mega waves, COVID waves, business challenges, technology. We've got these mega waves of change, challenge, and uncertainty, but also amazing opportunity. And so as the wave comes, you then turn and paddle like crazy to make sure you catch the wave. If you don't catch the wave, it goes past your business innovation, creativity, execution. It's a waste. But once you're on the wave, now balance matters. Life balance, work balance, energy balance, balance in every, and your balance changes every second. You literally are in constant movement. So you have to adapt to the wave that's moving around you. You have to be agile in your balancing. And now you can do creative stuff. If you're good enough, you don't just come running down the wave. You can go back and forth and over and around like these guys do. And then once you've finished, every surfer crashes. Everyone crashes. But the frame around the crash isn't negative. The frame around the crash is, wow, that was amazing. I enjoyed the experience. Now let me go and get ready again. And you need that resilience to be able to bounce back. And the final X in CLEARx is execution. So many companies go and spend millions on strategy and documents and consultants and breakaways, and they create this incredible vision of an organization, but they have no execution capability to execute on that strategy. And so that CLEARx is, how do we then enable, empower, and engage excellence is in that X part of that process. And so using that, you can go through the steps. And as a manager, you can now say, which area do I need to address right now to build a high performance organization? Because it's a structure and a process, but it's also a philosophy of saying, these are the areas, here's how we do it. The results I've seen have been, we've seen companies go from 200 million revenue to 800 million revenue. We've seen companies go double their sales in 90 days with the same framework coaching. We've seen companies go from, because we have specific workshops that we go and facilitate, killer company workshops, to go from 30 million revenue to 50 million to now they're going for 200 million. So when you do the people stuff, the heart stuff, the soul stuff, they work better. That machine works faster, and that brings in the money part of the process. But it's people first, planet is important, and profits will come.
Wow, wow. I'm just blown right now, Tony. And that was such a great answer. Love the analogy of the surfing. And I think it all just makes so much sense. Like you made it so easy to relate for our viewers in such layman terms you explained. And the CLEARx concept is extremely unique. Loved all the 5 parts to it: culture, leadership, engagement, action, relationships and execution. And I also loved how you have like 2 parts to every letter of CLEARx. So that was wonderful. That was an exhaustive reply.
So what else can I tell you about what we do? I think for me, the world has changed. I'm an IT guy, okay? So I'm a techie. I used to hack computer software and do computer systems, but I prefer hacking human software. It's much more rewarding, much more challenging, 1,000 times more challenging. And for me, it's what we need the most, is to help people become the best version of themselves. In IT, 1 year in IT is 10 years in normal life and business, because the tech moves so fast. COVID has been a blessing. There are people that unfortunately have not had the positive experience. I actually have been, I had COVID for 2 weeks, but because I looked after my health, because I had lower stress levels, and because I was prepared, I had no real big problems with that process. And I think we need to be ready. Very few people are ready. They live like tomorrow's going to be perfect. So whether it's financial, whether it's health, whether it's your business, whether it's disaster management, you have to be ready. I'm a Boy Scout. I have a plan B. I hope for the best, but I have a plan for the worst. If stuff happens, I have a plan. I have 100,000 liters of water. I have 2 months of food. You have insurance on your car or your health or your home. What insurance have you got for you to ensure your success? People have insurance, but we're about ensuring success. And so COVID has taken 20 years of business life and pushed us and squashed us into kind of 1 or 2 years. I love it because we've now created an environment where people can work from home. Yes, there is stress. Yes, people aren't clear on how to do it properly, but productivity has gone up. People spend less time running around in traffic, an hour to work, an hour to back, or places where it's really busy, they're 2 hours to work and 2 hours back. We now have a more meaningful space, but you need structure to the process, because I know people are working at home, they're lying on their couch with their laptop, which is not healthy from a point of view of physiological, biological structure, but they've got kids that they're trying to handle because they haven't got to school, and mom's got to do food for dad because dad's demanding attention. So women are under more stress, and so leaders have to become more conscious and more considerate and more compassionate to understand we live in unique times. We have never been in situations like that. Whatever we want to see, we want to call about the cause of the thing, handle reality. Come from love. Be more patient. Give your people the tools and the resources they need to be the best versions of themselves. Step back off the gas. I love speed and power. So 3,000 horsepower, high performance Ferrari, something like that, I love. But you can't climb in the car and put on the gas and run it at 10,000 revs forever. You can't do that to your people. You can push a bit and come off the gas and push a bit and come off the gas, and that's sustainable. Now, Simon Sinek talks about the finite and the infinite game. Most of our leaders are playing the game like it's soccer, push hard, win the game, and then that's it. There's the fixed rules and we know who the players are. But the truth is we live in an infinite world. There's no end line. There's the year-end numbers, but this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. So prepare for the longer journey. Make sure your people have the resources, have the knowledge. I used to, when I had my computer business, I used to do training every single morning, what I call consciously constructive. If you didn't come to training, you didn't work for my company, because you have to grow people every day, whether it's a soft skill, a business skill, a technical skill. You have to incrementally equip your people and expand. We know human learning. You can't take a person for a week and chuck, drinking from a fire hydrant. We forget it in 30 days. But little nibbles of knowledge every day allows you to build those bricks incrementally. So as a leader, we have to just come off that gas a little bit and group your people and say, right, because now you've got local and you've got remote. So you've got this hybrid context. You can't have look on the whole, what's happening. And you can't just walk past and say, hi, how are you doing? So things like check-ins, how are you doing? Make sure. We've all got a mask. We all pretend we're okay. We're too scared to say, I need help. Men don't go to therapy because they don't want to be perceived as broken. And that's why coaching is such a powerful process. It's not designed as a therapy to fix broken stuff, but it allows you to kind of stop and reflect and think and have a confidential sounding board. And that's why executive coaching is so valuable, because executives, it's a lonely place. There's lots of uncertainty and anxiety and stress. So for me, collaborating together, collaboration is the new competition. This compete at all costs for a win-lose deal. We have to get past. We have to collaborate with our people that we saw as competitors, because this is a marathon. Together, we can make a great place to work for both companies or both teams or whoever we are in that market, versus kill one. I think it's insane that we come from the mindset of, I want to kill my competition. It's so barbaric from the old ages. And for who? For the shareholders? And for me, that's wrong. We're waking up. Stakeholders matter. If I believe stakeholders should be in a share in the spoils and the benefit of the value that's created, everybody should be benefiting, not just one guy at the top who gets 1,000 times more than the person at the bottom. Because without the people at the bottom, the people at the top wouldn't have a machine that's running and performing. When a Formula One team wins, it's the people that do the engine, the people that do the tires, it's the people that drive the cars. It's not the manager there who sits in his box sipping champagne saying, well done, team. And so we have to become more conscious. We have to become more caring. For me to have everything and somebody to have nothing, we can't live like that anymore. We were abusing the planet. We've been abusing people for so long. I can't remember, probably in the 90s, early 90s, I was saying we should have the people value, the heart, the energy, the love, the care on the balance sheet of a company. It's coming. When you go in, if I was going to buy an organization, I'm going to check the people. When you do due diligence, yes, you see the numbers and stock and those things, but the heart of the machine is your people. If you don't come from love, you can't expect them to bring love. If you don't come from an honest, integrous place that I care for you, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's where the world is. To just sell versus, hi, I have some knowledge, can I help you make the right decision, is the shift in consciousness in the world. My life's about freedom, love, abundance, meaning, peace, and joy. Nowhere is there money as my core focus. It's a byproduct of adding value and meaningfulness to the world. We have to do this together. We have a long journey. We have our children that we have to consider. And depending upon your belief systems, if you believe in reincarnation, what are you leaving now for us to come back to later? It's people first. Positive development, conscious development with love and care. giving them a space to laugh and live and learn and grow and dance on a machine called business, which is a game for good for everybody. Planet matters, our oceans, our ozone, the forests. You know, we need the circular economy to become a core part of how we show up. And then it's profit. Profit is a byproduct of happy, healthy, conscious people adding real important value to the world. And that, for me, is why I wake up in the morning. It's, yes, the sunshine's always going to be there. Whether we're on the planet or not, sunshine's going to be there. I love a game. I love to compete, but I love to, at the end of the game, have a beer or a drink with whoever I competed with. Yes, during the game, we count the score. But at the end of the game, it doesn't matter. It's how are we going to go forward? How's your week? What are you doing tomorrow? What is your dreams? What are your hopes? How's your kids doing? And that, for me, is we're bringing love to the world. We're bringing love into business. The dark team, the angry team, the unhappy team, the money-only team slowly are being moved aside. I saw in the last 3 years, a few hundred CEOs have been fired or resigned in the American corporate world and around the world. And I think it signals a shift to a more considerate, compassionate, caring space. And when we can bring women into the world in those levels, we'll bring more of that heart and bring more of that balance. I'm part of a group called Mankind Project. We do healing work for men, and it's going from here to here. We're simple beings to love and be loved. And this is the longest journey a leader is going to take, is from his head to his heart. And that's what's got to happen in this new post-pandemic world, is we have to have heart. We have to care. We have to just find a way to be considerate enough to check in with people. It's like, I'm doing okay. How are you doing? Can I give you a hand? And that hand might just be, you know what, you're looking really good today. Your hair looks lovely. Can I bring you a cup of coffee? And so for my final wisdom, I'm sure you must have heard about the 5 love languages. You know, we have different love languages. Mine is touch. So if you're going to give recognition or appreciation or validation, if you come to me and say, Tony, well done, great job, and you bring me a cup of coffee, yeah, it's okay. But if you come and you put your hand on me or something and you say, Tony D, what you did was absolutely amazing, thank you. That's 1,000,000 times more powerful because I have the touch. So if you're a manager, you've got to be aware of the sexual harassment stuff in your organization, but be aware, do people want words of affirmation? Do people want special time? Do they want gifts? Now, what is it that's the way they appreciate being appreciated the most? And then it doesn't cost a thing. Just go and make somebody feel great. Thank you. I really thank you. Yes, you're paying them a salary, but I promise you that little bit of extra humanness and compassion will get loyalty and contribution and commitment from your team on levels that you just don't understand. And then you can use our system to create a high performance, high adapt agility team that changes the world.
Wow, very, very well said. So it's just about having compassion, care, and concern first for your employees, your team, and then eventually bringing it to a macro level to the planet, right? And just to have love for every human being and just being humane at the very core of it, right? Being empathetic and responsive to every individual subjectivities.
Yeah. In our team, in fact, I'm going to give you one thing. We do the world's most powerful team building. Mm-hmm. And it's based on the 4 levels of self-development, team development, leadership, and culture. In every workshop, there's tears. Because we create a safe container, psychologically safe space for people to let down their guard and put down their mask and just be authentic and real. And so often I'll see some of the people saying, I've worked for this person for 14 years. I had no idea about that. And I mean, if you see our testimonials, it's life-changing. It's been life-giving. And that's what we have to do. If we care, we have to get away from this money-only focus and say, my business is here to grow people. Money's oxygen. Understand this. If you have no oxygen, you're dead. But it shouldn't. I didn't wake up this morning saying, I hope I got oxygen. But I did wake up thinking, how am I going to dance? How am I going to enjoy the dance? How am I going to impact the world? How am I going to change a life? If my life has just changed one life, my life's been worthwhile. And so money's a cold lover. There's always a way. There's always a way. And for me, I never enter a race to come second. It's just bring your whole self to work. Bring your love, your head, your heart, and impact and shine. And that's what we got to do, is create places where people can shine together. And then we'll have a better, brighter, bolder, bigger future that we all want to be part of.
Wow, very, very well said. So it's all about doing everything together in a group for each other and creating an impact or a difference somewhere, right?
If you do something, if your work's about something bigger than you and it's meaningful to you, you'll bring innovation, you'll bring creativity, you'll bring collaboration, you'll bring connection, and you'll change the world. And that's what leaders have to do today. If you want to build engagement from this disastrous level of like 15, 20% engagement that Gallup shows us to higher levels, you got to bring this hard stuff. You got to bring this meaningful stuff. And the money becomes a scoreboard in this marathon. You can't sprint this marathon. It has to be, we have a thing called, it's the Comrades Marathon. It's a long run. There are people along the way that are there for psychological support, for biological support, for drink, and so we need the same thing. Managers have to do the same thing. Your guys are running a marathon. Your business is running a marathon. Be there. Come from how you're doing, because they're taking stress. They are sad. People have lost people. Sadness is a core part of what's happening. The sun is shining, but people are surrounded by challenges and stuff. So as a manager, you can put your hand down and say, let me help you. Let me find a way. And if you're a manager that's struggling, reach out to your people, build a strong team. I've seen teams support their manager in a level that the tough, hard shell manager actually had some tears. It's not hard to be special. Just that little thing. No, thank you. Just a little bit of care goes a very, very long way in the world. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can't agree more with you, Tony. And yeah, absolutely. I'm just out of words right now. But
so
yeah,
I'd like to make an offer to anybody that's listening, because my goal is to bring more love and light to the planet. I have a high performance assessment, a revolutionary workplace high performance assessment. I'm happy to give people information, even giving them a free assessment they can play with. I'd like to find ways to collaborate. I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, I'm a facilitator. I've spent my life developing this system. As you can see, I'm probably double your age, and I'd like to get it out to the world. So I'd love to collaborate. I'd love to find a way to go around the world and just create these pockets of possibility where people love to come to work. And so anybody who's ready, willing, and able, I'm very easy to work with. The answer to the question is yes. Whatever the question, my answer is yes.
Wow. I'm sure our audience are really going to avail the performance assessment, Tony. So thank you so much for that. Just going on to the next question, you already mentioned the concept of CLEARx, right? So I'll just skip that one and going on to the third one, shifting gears a little. You've spoken about how human-centered approach, about how your human-centered approach that's fiercely focused on developing 4 levels, right? We'd love to hear about that as well.
So for me, fiercely focused is because there's so much distraction in the world. If you don't focus fiercely on doing something, you're not going to have the time or the energy to do what needs to be done in those areas of irrevocably incremental process. But it's the 4 levels of people, teams, leadership, and culture. But focusing on the people, consciously constructive training every single day. There's a process called deliberately developmental. And they do 50% of the day is commercial focus. 50% of the rest of the day is developmental focus of the people. I think that's amazing. I don't think many companies will get there, But what I'm saying is become consciously constructive and take 45 minutes every day to grow your people incrementally. Because it is people, planet, and profit, those are the things that need to be developed. But it's the people first, giving them tools to do the right job, giving them skills to be able to do the job properly, giving them mindsets, growth optimized mindsets, so that when the challenges come, they can overcome them. They do come from a point of view of learning and growing and developing versus the poor me victim, I'm just here for the money kind of thing. If you're going to be future fit, this world is changing so quickly. Adaptability, which is the adaptable ability, the agility, the resilience to bounce back, the balance in this process of push, ease off, push and ease off, and creativity, everybody needs it. Because this wheel's only going faster. Innovation is only coming faster. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, quantum computing. We've now got quantum computers that perform in millions of times faster than the faster machines. And so we're going to have to work alongside those processes. But if your business is only about money, if money's your sole goal, there's no soul in that goal. So for me, as a leader, even as an entrepreneur, you have to stand back and say, how do I create a great place for my people? How do I bring out the best in my people? How do we turn that into good, positive teamwork where there's trust and people have got your back and collaboration in that process? Gallup's research shows that 9 out of 10 managers or leaders are not great. Have to find ways to grow those people to become better, people-focused, future-fit, that they bring out the best in people. And so that's the space that we have to create. Is as an entrepreneur, you have this ecosystem that people on the outside look at you and say, I want to work with you. I love the culture. I love the vision, mission, values. I love the relationships. Because, people join your company for the vision and mission and values, but they leave because of incompetent management. Horizontal relationships and vertical relationships, what cause people to leave. And to get some soul, it's people, planet, and profits. And it's people first. We all want to be loved. We all want to be in a relationship of some kind. Even when you see children, we connect with them on such an incredible level. We have to be better role models and leave them a better world than we were given. We can't leave them a burnt out, destroyed place with conflict and war and that. We have to change our consciousness to say, this is a we. And the we isn't just you and me. It's the bigger we, us. We could do incredible stuff with the resources we have, but it's about embracing everybody in that process. And we have to be fiercely focused on that and irrevocably, incrementally take a step-by-step, what I call swift action, towards a brighter, better, bolder future. We have the tools, we have the technology, we have the resources. We just now need to find a way, as business has to become that front edge of the wedge to create the platform where we grow people, we grow our love, we grow our connection. We grew, when you look back, my plan is to live to 100, and I want to look back and think, because I don't have kids, humanity is my children. That's this where I live for this lifetime. You want to look back and think and know that you did something more meaningful than have 10 zeros in your bank account. And that for me is what makes a meaningful life, is to have sown the seeds and then watch them grow into something that is incredible and valuable for more than just yourself. And that's why meaning matters in the workplace.
Wow, that was a very valuable insight. And thank you so much, Tony, for that. And I can't agree more with you on how we need to constantly be there for our people, help them upskill and reskill themselves, and just be a contributor in their personal growth and self-development, right?
I'm not just, finally, because I'm realizing how long we've been going here.
Sorry?
If we're going to survive, I just realized how long we've been going, so I'm just trying to go through your questions.
No.
If we're going to thrive in a world with an infinite possibility, we have to, number one, come from a different place. Our identity of who we are, who I am, is the foundation of everything, because that will create then your beliefs, your values, your behaviors, your performance, and your results. My perspective is we are pieces of source, of love, of God, of universe, whatever labels you want to give it, whatever religion is. We're a piece of the most powerful source in the universe, which is love. And with that, I'm here to dance. Business for me is a distraction. This planet wasn't designed, humanity wasn't designed to just be in business. We're here to grow and discover and find ways that we can raise consciousness and collaboration together. We have to stand back. And that's what COVID's been. The blessing is we've been on the racetrack doing 3,000 miles an hour, and it's so fast you can't stop to do anything. But it's time that we took a stop in the pits and said, how's the race going? Are we enjoying it? Are we learning? Are we growing? Are we improving? Is everybody gaining value from the system? Because if you're just knocking people down on the way as you go, there are so many victims and people that are damaged by the high speed, sometimes good intention of business. And we have to just like come back and say, hold on a second. You know, you see business building in our place here. Businesses are knocking down this whole beautiful field of trees and plants and everything to build offices. We don't need more offices. People are working from home now. 60 to 70% of people want to work from home. If you allow business to run its course, where money is the only thing that matters, we will live in a concrete steel jungle with robots doing everything. So we have to put some brakes on. Yes, just because your car can do 200 miles an hour doesn't mean you should. There are consequences of that. If something happens, you can crash, a tire can come off. So just because technology can do all of these things doesn't mean we should. Now, Elon Musk talks about artificial intelligence and machine learning. And he's a South African like me. And he's a clever dude. He's a clever guy. And if one of the world's cleverest guys says, beware of artificial intelligence, maybe we should listen. Because if we allow the money-hungry greed, what I call greeders, just for the numbers, to drive the machine, we will eventually be left out here in the wilderness with nothing. And so we have to balance back to the middle and create a world where there's a balance of humanity and technology. Just because we can doesn't mean we should. And that for me is, somebody's got to have the sanity to say, hold on a second. And that's where I think wisdom comes from. You know, as an executive coach, I come from an older point of view, and I'm able to say to some of my clients, just step back a little bit. Yes, I know you want to race, but just step back and look at a bigger picture, look at a bigger consequence, run the movies for a longer time. Now come back into the race car and say, here's what I'd like to achieve. But we've been given an incredible pause gift with COVID to rethink how we're dancing and how we're racing.
Absolutely. So it's just using technology as an enabler to enrich and supplement humanity and the unique and the greatness that human creativity and innovation can do, right?
Yeah. I've seen the factories at Elon's place. You know, you see the robots replacing many humans. And especially in Africa, where we have a lower level of skill, all of those positions, all of the physical behavior positions, robots, technology right now today can replace them. But you have to find a balance between just because I can, should I? And that's part of an indictment on people, because people make it tough. Especially in our country, our engagement levels are low, our disengagement levels are double that of the world. And so we have unions and fighting. And if you're a business owner and people are a problem, you're going to find a solution. And the solution is technology and artificial intelligence and machine learning. And so some of those people are the cause of their own demise because of the way they're showing up in the world. And that's why it has to be together. Because if it's apart, I'm going to do the best for me. And that's going to be to get rid of human interaction and dependency on human in my business and automate as much as possible. And I don't think that's a a long-term solution for humanity. And that's why people, planet, and profit has to be the focal interest.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Tony, just going on to the next question that we have for you. When we talk about post-pandemic workplace, right, how do you think leaders can successfully manage their teams and just be sensitive to their needs?
Like I mentioned earlier, I think leadership in these times has to come from the heart. So you've got people that are sitting at home, they're sad, they're stressed, they don't necessarily have all the technology that they need. They're away from their usual social, no, we're social animals. They're away from their social support structures. So for me, number one, check in with your people on a personal basis, one-to-one, but check in underneath the mask. Like, you know, people will phone up and say, hi, Tony, how you doing? It's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. You know, fine is feelings inside, not exposed. But you want to get under the mask now, how are you really doing? But you have to have a culture, psychologically safe culture, and the relationship that I can say, sure, you know, I'm taking strain. My husband keeps wanting my attention. My kids are here. You know, I've got the maid, and I'm distracted, and I can't do my work, and I'm overloaded. So you got to be checked in to understand how the energy of your people are. Number one. Number two is give them the tools they need to do the work efficiently, effectively, to collaborate, to communicate. Many people are at home with their own tech. They've had to supply their own laptops or PCs and their own internet access and pay for their own data. And I think that's heinous. It's a business expense. Business must pay. But then also from a point of view of meetings, the Zoom fatigue. You know, guys are having these meetings, and it's just like constant meeting, and you can't get to do your work. So keep your meetings down to what you have to do. Be clear on the communication channels. You've got Slack and WhatsApp and Zoom and email and phone calls. The problem that we have is we are so used to instant response, but that's an interrupter. And that's why we need fierce focus to do our work. And so as a company, you need to make an agreement. If it's email, I need the response within 24 hours or 8 hours, whatever. If it's a WhatsApp or an SMS, then I need the response within 10 minutes or 20 minutes. If it's a phone call, I need response now. But you know, you've got to be clear on that because it becomes part of the culture. And then also have social times. Yes, business has got to get done and work's got to get done, but have social weekly cocktail hour or funny hat hour or crazy shirt hour where you just talk, and it's like you might have a social on a Friday in your business. Just allow the people to connect and collaborate around personal stuff. You know, what are you doing? What's happening with the children? Where are you going this weekend? One of the things I like is there are places that you can go to. They've got Wi-Fi and good internet away from home. You know, I work on my own. I'm in my office. I could go for a week and see nobody if I don't go out of my house. So there are places that you can go to and like joint workplaces, collaboration places. Arrange for little groups in the areas that they can go there once a week and get out of the office. Otherwise you get cabin fever. You know, you're so fiercely focused on stuff that's here. There are times, you know, I spend good 15, 16 hours a day on my computer systems. I have 3 screens around me, but there are times when it's just like, it's enough. I've got enough radiation. I'm technoed out. And so give your people the space to work when they feel good. I'm a morning guy and a night guy, so I have no problem. But to some people, they have to go to work at 8, but they're really not morning people, and they work better because of what's got around them. They work from lunchtime till 7, 8, 9, 10. Give them that flexibility as long as the work gets done. You have to balance. The biggest problem I see leaders make is somebody's performing well, and so because they rely on them, they load them more work because they know they're going to do it or hopefully try and do it. And then the slackers don't get much. But then you burn out your high performer. So you've got to find a way just to kind of even out the spread, make sure that the workload is fair and reasonable, because then fairness comes into the thing. Now I'm doing all the work and I'm getting the same pay as the guys that are doing nothing. That's not fair. And that then creates the disengagement. This is a marathon. Give your people the tools, give them the resources, give them the skills, give them the mindsets. give them the attention, give them the recognition and validation that helps each day to be an amazing day. That we have technology to now, in our phones, in our pads, and our PCs everywhere. A little positive word for the day. Start a little thought for the day to get you going. There's so much available on the web that you can take and as a manager use to inspire and energize your people. But it means you have to care. So I'm suggesting to the left brain guys, find a bit of balance to the heart side. It's fun. You'll enjoy it. It's rewarding as heck when you take the role of the identity of being the mentor and coach of your people to bring out the very best in them. And they'll reward you with higher performance.
True. Very well said, Tony. I completely agree with you there as well. And every reply of yours has so much to, for us, it's just so knowledgeable that we have so much to take in. So thank you so much for that. And just to kind of wrap this interview up, do you have any quote that best defines your feelings about the future of work, workplace, and you?
I have a few sayings, and for me, there's always a way. That's my foundational saying. There is always a way. Maybe can't see it right now, but there's always a way. Number two would be, don't enter a race to come second. If you're going to enter this race, do it properly. Give your people the stuff that they need to be the best version of themselves. I think the real thing is, for me, love, health, wealth, and happiness are the fuels for success in the 21st century. Money matters, but it's oxygen. It's got to be for stakeholders, not just shareholders, not if we're conscious. And so if you're going to become a limitless leader, you have to come from love. Otherwise, you're a breeder.
Wow, very well. So that was a great note to end it on. So much positivity radiating from your end, and I'm sure you're an inspiration to many. And so thank you so much for taking up the time to talk to LeaderSum today, Tony. We really appreciate it, and I'm sure our audience have a lot to learn from you as well.
I'm glad to share. Humanity is my children. And so, like I said, whatever the question is, as long as it's fair, fun, reasonable, and we make a difference, whatever the question is, my answer is yes.
Wow, lovely, lovely. So, Tony, thank you so much. We shall surely stay in touch, and you have a safe and healthy time ahead of you.
Thank you, and bless you for everything and for all the work and the difference that you guys are making too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.